Schools have been around for a long, long time, and schools have very specific ways of doing business. And so it's not uncommon for schools to come into this new role of partnering with parents, partnering with families, with a perspective or a way of thinking that comes from the school's base. Parents and teachers all wanted students to be successful in school, and schools have historically kind of been in charge of that. So they have an approach where they think that they have the right answers, and most of the time they do, but those right answers aren't always the same answers as they will be for families. So a school-centric approach is one where the school steps up and says, here's the way that we do it, I think we should all do it the same way. A partnership-centric approach is, here's the way we do it, now how do you do it, and how can we work together and do it in concert with one another. There's nothing wrong with schools having goals. In fact, we expect our teachers to do a good job. We expect administrators to set those goals around school improvement. But probably the best way to really improve schools is by partnering with parents. So we have to get a little bit out of our zone of always thinking about a school's way of doing things and think about how to embrace ways of engaging with parents that might look a little bit different than it has been in the past. Now, some of the foundational things that are going to be important in order to do that is characterized by the 3 A's, okay? An approach where we all want what's best for a child, and we recognize as educators that parents are teachers also, that they have a very important role, not only a desirable role, but really an essential role. They are critical in helping the child develop and learn to the best of their capacity. We have to have an approach that recognizes that there's a shared responsibility between parents and schools to educate a child and to ensure that the child has a positive future. And we have to have an approach where we're not looking for places to blame parents if a child is struggling, but rather places where we can come together and support one another in order to support the child. The second A is attitude. And attitude is everything. We have to have an attitude that recognizes that parents do want what's best for their child, but they don't always know how to help. And so the practices that they engage in may not be the way we would want to do it, but by coming together, we can figure out together how best to support the student. And the third A is atmosphere. By atmosphere, we mean both the physical environment in a school as well as the affective or psychological environment in a school. The physical environment can be constructed in ways that is very warm and engaging. It represents diversity and culture in ways that parents want to be there. They have a place that they can come, and they know that they'll be respected when they get there. A lot of times parents don't engage with education because they've had a bad experience themselves, or they've had a history of negative interactions with previous teachers. So we need to turn that around and make sure that the school is a place, both psychologically and physically, where parents want to be. All of those things lead to actions that really emphasize that shared communication, that shared responsibility, and it all will help a student's achievement.